Hello viewers, welcome to Unacademy. Let's crack management exams. This channel is completely in English, hence the channel is Let's Crack Management Exams English. Unacademy is your one-stop solution to crack all the management exams and more so to be able to crack CAT. In today's session, we'll be looking at the topic of partnership, stocks and shares. Before moving on to the topic, let me very quickly introduce myself. I am Arjun R. Prasad, an engineer with 12 plus years of teaching experience, having trained more than 6,000 CAT aspirants in the fields of quantitative aptitude, data interpretation, data sufficiency, and logical reasoning. I have also trained them to crack the personal interviews. I have trained more than 4,000 students to crack the campus recruitment exams. With no more delay, let us get started with today's topic, which is partnerships, stocks, and shares. So, first, let us understand what is partnership. See, if we look at any business entity, if one individual has enough amount of financial muscle to begin the company and run the company, then you don't need a partnership. Partnership would be needed at a point when one person cannot afford to run the entire business financially because of the financial muscle not being available. At that point of time, a group of people, a handful of people may just come in and pitch in together, and then they start a business and they run the business. In such a scenario, the question arises as to when the company makes a profit, in what ratio should the profit be shared among the partners. So the key point in partnership, there's only one point that we need to be really understanding, and conceptually that is more important. It is nothing but the ratio in which the profit must be shared. In case of a partnership, profit is always distributed in the ratio of product of the money invested and the time frame for which the money has been invested. What I mean by that is, let us take a very quick example, a small one. Let us say I start a business by investing 1 lakh rupees, and my friend pitches in 6 months down the line with 2 lakh rupees. End of the year, business makes a profit. If the chance is given to me to share the profit, I would be more than happy to say, okay, let us share it in the ratio of the time frame for which the money has been invested. Because I have invested for 12 months and you have invested only for 6 months, then let us share it in the ratio of 2:1, 12:6, which is 2:1. So my friend would be unhappy. If the chance is given to my friend, he would say that instead, let us share the profit in the ratio of the money invested. I have invested 2 lakh rupees, you have invested 1 lakh rupees, so let us share it in the ratio of 2:1. Then I will be unhappy. So to be fair, it is supposed to be calculated. The ratio is supposed to be calculated in such a fashion that it should be the product of the money invested and the time frame for which the money has been invested. So in this case, 1 lakh into 12, 2 lakh into 6, 1 lakh into 12, 12 lakhs, 2 lakh into 6, 12 lakhs. So 12 lakhs, 12 lakhs, 12 lakhs is to 12 lakhs, which is nothing but 1:1. So both of us have to share the profit equally. Is that clear? That's the only concept that is needed to solve questions on partnerships. Now let us go on and see a few questions at least. Okay. The first question comes up. Rama and Krishna are the only investors in a surgical mask making firm, with their respective investments being rupees 21,000 and rupees 17,500. The firm makes a profit of rupees 26,400 in the year. What are the respective shares of Rama and Krishna in the profit? See, when nothing is stated, it is universally assumed that both the investors started investing at the same time, invested at the same time, at the beginning of the year. And at the end of the year, the profit has to be shared. In this case, only in this case, See, both of them have invested for 12 months. Therefore, the ratio in which the profit must be shared will be equal to the ratio of the investments, because the time frame is exactly the same. So it is supposed to be the ratio of the investments, the money that the people have invested. Now, if we look at the solution, 21,000 is to 17,500. There is no point in writing the two zeros at the end because they are anyway common, they get cancelled out. So therefore, I have started by considering the ratio in which Rama and Krishna must share the profit is 210 is to 175, which is same as 30 is to 25, which is same as 6 is to 5. Now, when it is the same as 6 is to 5, a way to calculate the actual share is, what is 6 plus 5? 11. Let us say the total profit was there in 11 bags. Let us say the total profit was there in 11 similar bags. When the total profit is there in 11 similar bags, Rama will take away 6 bags and Krishna will take away 5 bags. So this 11 bags, which is the total, contains 26,400 rupees. That means each bag contains 26,400 divided by 11, that is 2,400 rupees. Each bag contains 2,400 rupees. Krishna takes 5 bags, therefore Krishna takes away 5 bags each of 2,400, which means 12,000 rupees. Then Rama takes away 6 bags, each bag of 2,400, which is 14,400 rupees. Therefore, the respective shares of Rama and Krishna in the profit are 14,400 rupees and 12,000 rupees. Is that clear to everyone? Hope you learned this. Let us move on to the next question. Babar starts a business with rupees 45,000. 3 months later, Akbar joins him with rupees 30,000. What is the ratio in which the profit must be shared? What is the ratio in which the profit must be shared between them at the end of the year? See, one way to solve it is to write and solve. Is there any other way? Yes. See, look at it. These three zeros are anyway common. So we can consider it as 45 and 30. But here time frame is also different. Therefore, the ratio will be 45 into 12. 45 into 12 is to 30 into 9. Why into 9? Because Akbar joins 3 months later. Therefore, Akbar invested 30,000 only for 9 months. Therefore, 45 into 12, 30 into 9. Say 45 and 30. It is like 15 3 times, 15 2 times. 3 into 12. It is like 3 into 12. And over here, it will be 2 into 9. 3 into 12, 2 into 9. 3 into 12 is how much? 36. 2 into 9 is how much? 18. So what is the ratio? 36 is to 18. 36 is to 18 means 2 is to 1. So the ratio will be 2 is to 1. See, we did not use a pencil, we did not use a paper. But still we got the answer. The answer is 2 is to 1. Just for the sake of convenience, I am giving you the solution in the written format over here. Babar 45,000 into 12, Akbar 30,000 into 9. Divide one by the other, the ratio turns out to be 2 is to 1. Is that clear? Understood this? Let us now move on to the next question. I'll give you maybe a minute or a minute and a half time after reading the question, so that you also get to try the question at least, solving the question. Amar started a business with rupees 40,000. Akbar joined him after 2 months with rupees 60,000. Anthony joined them after a few more months with rupees 1,20,000. At the end of the year, out of a total profit of rupees 3,75,000, Anthony gets rupees 1,50,000 as his share. After how many months since Akbar joined did Antony join the business? Can you think about it? Okay. Now let us look at the solution. See these four zeros in 40,000, 60,000, 1,20,000. The four zeros are anyway common, so I will not write them. Now Amar is like 40,000 into 12 months, that is 4 into 12. Akbar 60,000 for only 10 months because Akbar joined after 2 months, so he invested only for 10 months, so 6 into 10. Anthony invested 1,20,000, so 12 into, we don't know for how many months. Please understand, over here the value x over here is nothing but the number of months for which Anthony was invested in the business. This x over here is the number of months for which the Anthony was invested in the business, right? So the ratio will be 4 into 12 is to 6 into 10 is to 12 into x. That is same as 4 is to 5 is to x, which means in the final profit, Anthony gets x parts out of 9 plus x parts. X parts out of 9 plus x parts is equal to, how much did Anthony get? 1,50,000. What was the total profit? 3,75,000. Again, the three zeros and three zeros are common, so I have written it as 150 by 375. X by 9 plus x is 150 by 375, which is same as 6 by 15, which is same as 2 by 5. Now you cross multiply, you will get it as 5x is equal to 9 into 2, 18 plus 2 into x, 2x. If we simplify, 5x minus 3 minus 2x, which is 3x is equal to 18. 3x is equal to 18 means x is equal to 18 by 3, which is 6. That means Anthony invested after 6 months, because he stayed in the business for 6 months. Anthony invested after 6 months of the time the business began. But the question is, after how many months since Akbar joined? After how many months since Akbar joined? See, my answer would have been 6 months from the time the business began. But the question is how many months since Akbar joined? Akbar joined after 2 months. Therefore, 4 months after Akbar joined, Anthony joined the business. Therefore, my answer is 4. 4 months after Akbar joined, Anthony joined the business. Therefore, the answer is 4. Is that clear? Understood? Let me take the next question. Paul started a business with rupees 20,000. Peter joined him 4 months later with rupees 30,000. After another 2 months, Paul withdrew rupees 5,000 from his investment. 2 months later, Peter pumped in rupees 20,000 into business. At the end of the year, in what ratio should Paul and Peter share the profit? Think about it. Give you about a minute time. Think about it. Then I shall explain. Okay, let us look at the solution. Now, see 20,000, 30,000, 5,000, 20,000, right? So everywhere the three zeros are common. So I am not considering those three zeros. Okay, fine. Now Paul started the business with 20,000. Peter joins him after 4 months. After another 2 months, Paul withdrew. That means Paul stayed in the business with 20,000 rupees for only 6 months. After that, he withdraws 5,000. So 20,000 for 6 months. That is 20 into 6. The thousands, I am not writing those three zeros. Okay. So 20 into 6. And then what happens? He withdrew 5,000 rupees. So now his investment for the second half of the year is only 15,000. So 15,000 for another 6. 20,000 for the first 6 months plus 15,000 for the next 6 months. Is that clear? Now let us take similarly for Peter. What happens? Peter joined him 4 months later with rupees 30,000. Okay. So 4 months since the start of the business, Peter joined him. After 2 months, Paul withdrew. 2 months later, that means only for 4 months. So first 2 months, after which Paul withdrew, and then after another 2 months, Peter pumps in another 20,000. So this part I'm considering it later. So now after 4 months, Peter joined, and Peter stayed in the business with 30,000 as his investment for only 4 months, right? So 30,000 for 4 months, and then what happens? He invests another 20,000. So now his investment for the rest of the year, the remaining part means, see, he joined 4 months later. He has already stayed in the business for another 4 months with 30,000. So what is left out? Another 4 months is left out. For those 4 months, what is his total investment? To that 30,000, he adds another 20,000. So now his investment is 50,000 for the last 4 months. So 30,000 for 4 months plus 50,000 for 4 months. Simplify this, we will end up with 35 into 6 is to 80 into 4, which is 21, is to 32. Is that clear? Any doubt here? If there is a doubt, you can always, write a text or comment in the on the video, and we'll be more than happy to help you in detail. Okay? Let us take a look at the next question. This is interesting one. Again, I'll give you a minute time. Think about it, then I shall help you. Okay. The chief marketing officer at a company gets as an incentive 10% of the profit left after his incentive is paid. If the incentive received by the chief marketing officer is rupees 40,000, then find the profit made by the company. The chief marketing officer at company gets as an incentive 10% of the profit left after his incentive is paid. If the incentive received by the chief marketing officer is rupees 40,000, then find the profit made by the company. Think about it. I'll give you about another maybe 40 seconds. Then I shall help you with the solution. Okay. Let us look at the solution now. Let us say the total profit of the company is P rupees. How much is the incentive that is paid to the chief marketing officer? 40,000. So what is the profit left after his incentive has been paid? P minus 40,000. What is 10% of it? 10 by 100 into P minus 40,000. What is this value? This is nothing but equal to the incentive that the chief marketing officer got, which is 40,000. So profit is P. After the incentive to the chief marketing officer is given, the remaining profit is P minus 40,000. 10% of that is nothing but the incentive that the chief marketing officer got. That is nothing but the 40,000. So P minus 40,000 is equal to the 0 gets cancelled out, and 40,000 into 10 will be 4 lakhs. So P minus 40,000 is 4 lakhs, means P is equal to 4 lakh 40,000 rupees. So the profit made by the company is 4 lakh 40,000 rupees. Is that clear? We shall move on to the next question now. But before that, let us understand the concept of stocks and shares. Right? So it is nothing but an extrapolation. In a way, it is an extrapolation of partnership. But why it is treated as a separate topic, why stocks and shares is a separate topic, is because, see, sometimes the financial muscle needed to run the business will be so huge that a handful of people coming in together will not be able to give in that kind of a money that is needed to run the business. In such a scenario, what happens is we will have to do a crowdsourcing kind of a thing. It means you take money from many people as investment. Now what happens when huge number of people start investing? Bookkeeping becomes very difficult. If we are handful of people, we can manage. But if the entire it's like lakhs of people invest, then it becomes very difficult for managing. Then the entire business effort will go in managing the books of financial books, which is not the primary core of the business entity. So there comes the concept of stocks and shares. We will understand the concept more deeply with the help of few terminologies, and let us see what it means. Stock actually means the total worth of the company. Stock means the total worth of the company, right? Share is a part of the stock. Share is a part of the stock. Therefore, a shareholder is a part owner of the company. Therefore, the shareholder is a part owner of the company. Next, what is a face value? See, when I give you a share, you give me money, I give you share, right? What is the face value? Face value means the actual worth of one share is called as the face value of the share. The actual worth of one share. Okay. What happens? You give me money, I give you the share. Tomorrow people understand that there is a huge potential in this business. So they will say, okay, I'll pay you more, you pay me. Or if the faith in the company diminishes, then they will say, you want to desperately sell the share. So some person will say, okay, give it to me at a lower price. So the actual price at which the share is being traded in the market or is available in the market at a given point of time is called as the market value of the share. Is that clear? Now, the next concept is that of premium. See, sometimes what happens, even though the face value of the share may be 10 rupees, a person may be ready to buy the share by paying 100 rupees, 200 rupees or whatever, because there is huge amount of faith in the company. To understand the concept of premium and discount, let us take some example which we can relate to, right? So it also helps us understand the concept of dividend, premium, discount. Right? Let us say, for example, let us consider automotive industry, right? So which is the latest brand of car that has come out. Okay, let us say Harrier, right? Now, Harrier is a car that has actually come into the market. Now you go to the showroom and you say, I want to buy the Harrier car. And the showroom manager will tell you, sir, there is a waiting period of 6 months. You'll say, no, I need it early. I cannot wait for. He'll say, sir, it would be unfair of me to, put you in the queue, ahead in the queue, when those many people who have already approached and who have already paid us a token amount are already standing ahead of you. But you will insist, no, I want it. Then he'll say, okay, for this, you need to pay me something extra. You need to pay some money extra over and above the price of the vehicle. So you'll say, fine. This over and above the price of the vehicle, whatever you pay, is called as the premium. Okay. Now, to understand this, let us say after buying, you also bought, someone else who was in the queue, who came in, and all, even that person also bought at the same time. Now both of you take the vehicle outside of the gate, just outside of the gate. Okay. And then you change your mind, both of you change your mind, and you say that we want to sell this car. Hypothetical scenario. Both the cars will be valued in the same way, exactly the same way. What does it mean? It means that your premium that you have paid is for the faith that you have in the company, and it does not have a bearing on the actual worth of the company. You are paying premium because you have the faith. Is that clear? The actual worth of the car in this case did not change. The actual worth is still the same. You paid extra because you have faith, or in this case, you wanted to benefit by getting the car delivered very early. Clear? Let us take another scenario of discount. Discount is nothing but the amount less than the face value that is paid by the shareholder to buy the share. Right? Now, again, automotive industry. Let us say some company. Let us say General Motors. They are having a plans of shutting down their presence in India. So what do? They see that there is a huge amount of inventory. Let us say Chevrolet is there. So they say, we are giving away Chevrolet at a discounted price. Has the actual worth of the Chevrolet diminished? No. Just that you landed up at a good deal. Is that clear? So discount is offered when the company is desperate to sell the share, and the number of buyers are lesser in number, or buyers do not have that much of faith in the company. Okay. So this is called as discount sell. Now what is dividend? See, if I keep the money in the bank, I will get interest. In this case, I have invested in the company. I am a part owner of the company. As a shareholder, I am a part owner of the company. When I am a part owner of the company, when the company makes a profit, I stand a chance to get a share of the profit. That share of the profit that gets distributed to the shareholders is called as dividend. Always, dividend is also calculated based on the face value only. Sometimes, if we do not understand the concept, we may become gullible, wherein they say dividend of 200%. Now you will be thinking, oh, 200% means I will get 2 times of what I invested itself as dividend. No. For a 10 rupee worth share, if you have paid 1000 rupees, that is for where the face value is 10 rupees, but you paid a premium of 990 rupees and you bought the share at 1000 rupees, and the dividend is stated as 200%, you only get a dividend of 20 rupees, not 2000 rupees, only 20 rupees, because dividend is calculated based on the face value, not your buying value. Is that clear? Okay. Then we need to understand the same concept which I have reiterated over here. Premium, discount, dividend are all calculated based on the face value only. In some scenarios, we will very often look at a statement of this nature which says it's a X% stock at Y rupees. Typically, this type of a statement occurs during the sale of government bonds or disinvestment of a government held entity, because when a government held entity is getting disinvested, people expect that it is because it was held by the government, they need some amount of security, they need a security net. So what it means is This X% means that you are assured of a dividend of X%. You are assured of a dividend of X%. Irrespective of whether the company does well or not, you are assured of a dividend of X%. But you have to buy at Y rupees per share, and this Y rupees, if the Y is more than the face value, see, if not stated for this type of a statement, the face value is supposed to be considered as 100 rupees per share, which is typically the scenario in India for government bonds, right? The face value is supposed to be considered as 100 rupees. This Y, if it is more than 100, it means that people have good faith in that company. It could be a Navratna company or Maharatna company, whatever, right? But if this Y is less than 100 rupees, that means the face value does not change. Face value is still 100 only, but you are paying less. Okay. So X% stock at Y rupees means Y rupees is your purchase price per share. X% is nothing but the dividend that you are supposed to obtain, and this X% is calculated based on the face value, which is nothing but 100 rupees if it is not explicitly stated in this type of a statement. Is that clear? Now let us look at a few examples so that the concept becomes a little bit more clear. The question over here is, what is the annual income from rupees 32,250 invested in 4% stock at 7.5% premium? Now look at it. It's a 4% stock at 7.5% premium. You are investing 32,250. What is the face value? Because it's not stated, the face value is supposed to be considered as 100 rupees per share. Now it is being bought at a premium of 7.5%. That means for every share you are paying 107.5 rupees. How many shares will you be able to buy? By investing 32,250 rupees at the rate of 107.5 rupees per share, we will be able to buy 300 shares. Now we hold 300 shares, isn't it? We hold 300 shares. It's a 4% stock. That means my dividend or my annual income is 4% of the face value. What is the face value of each share? Face value of each share is 100 rupees. What is 4% of 100? 4 rupees. That means I am going to get an income of 4 rupees for every share that I hold. I hold 300 shares, so my income will be 4 rupees per share into 300 shares. My income would be 1,200 rupees. Is that clear? This is the annual income. Understood? Now let us look at another question. Which is a better investment? Which is a better investment? 5% stock at rupees 84 or 7% stock at rupees 128. Okay. To understand this, as to how to solve it quickly, I am taking an example of the way a certain concept was taught to my daughter, right? Let us say if I take two objects, if I just take two objects, and if I ask you the question, if I just hold it this way, and if I ask you the question, which out of these two is taller? It's very difficult to say. If I keep it this way, again it is difficult to say. If I keep it this way, where the base is at the same level, and I am comparing, I can compare and say which one is taller. Or rather, if I compare it in such a way that I make their top surfaces at the same level, then I can compare and say which one is taller, right? Isn't it? Now we will use the similar approach. So if I have to compare these two investments and see which one is better, 5% stock at rupees 84 or 7% stock at rupees 128, one way to do it is, see, in this case, by investing 84 rupees, I get 5 rupees. In this case, by investing 128 rupees, I get 7 rupees, right? So make your investment to be the same, or make your return to be the same and calculate the corresponding investment. For me, a easier way would be Just take a let us say the investment is 84 into 128 rupees. Okay, 84 into 128. That much money is being invested, let us say, in this type of a stock, 5% stock at 84. The same amount of money, let us say, I hypothetically invest in 7% stock at rupees 128. What will be my return? When I invest 84 into 128 rupees in a 5% stock at 84 rupees, it's like my investment is like 84 rupees, 84 rupees. How many times? 128 times. That means this type of stock, how many shares do I have? I have 128 shares. And for every share, how much money will I get? I'll get 5 rupees. So what will be my income? 128 into 5, which is nothing but 640 rupees. Now, on the other hand, let us take the same investment of 84 into 128 rupees. It is like as good as visualizing as if I'm investing 128 rupees 84 times. For every 128 rupees that I invest, I get one share. So in this case, how many shares will I get? 84 shares I'll get. For each share, how much money will I get? At the end of the year, I'll get 7 rupees. So my income will be 84 into 7, which is 588 rupees. So this means that with the same investment, in this case, I'm getting 640 rupees. In this case, I'm getting 588 rupees, which clearly means that 5% stock at 84 is much better than 7% stock at 128. Is that clear? Isn't it easy? Let's move on to the next question. What is the number of shares that can be bought with rupees 72,000 if each share has a face value of rupees 100 and is sold at a discount of 20%? Again, not every question needs to be solved using paper and pen. See, the face value is 100 rupees. It is being sold at a discount of 20%. That means you are paying only 80 rupees per share. You are paying only 80 rupees per share. 80 rupees per share, 72,000 rupees has been invested. How many shares? 72,000 divided by 80. 0 gets cancelled out. 8 9 times is 72. Therefore, the number of shares that you get will be 900. Is that clear? It is nothing but 72,000 divided by 80, which is 900 shares. Is that clear? Let us look at another simple question. How much is the dividend income from rupees 6 lakh worth of stock with 6% dividend? See, in this type of a question, face value, I don't know. I don't know what the face value of each share is. 6 lakh worth of stock, not 6 lakh is not your investment. You own a 6 lakh worth of stock. You might have paid 10 lakhs, you might have paid 12 lakhs, you might have paid 20 lakhs to purchase that. But how much worth is that stock? What is the actual worth of that stock? It is 6 lakhs. Okay. That stock is 6 lakh rupees worth. So when that is 6 lakh rupees worth, it is as good as the face value of that entire stock is 6 lakh rupees. You are getting a 6% dividend, which means your income or your dividend income will only be 6% of that actual worth. 6% of 6 lakhs. What is 6% of 6 lakhs? What is 10% of 6 lakhs? 60,000. What is 1%? 6,000. So what is 6%? 36,000. Therefore, what is my answer? 36,000. Is that clear? Understood? Next, let us look at another question. I'll give you maybe a minute or two to solve the question. Let me read the question once. A person invests rupees 18,800 in a 5% stock at rupees 94. He sells all the shares when it is quoting at rupees 104 and reinvests the proceeds in the 6% stock at rupees 400, which he sells when the stock is quoting at rupees 405. Find the overall gain in the transaction. You have 1 minute to solve. Maybe 20 seconds more. Okay, let us look at the solution. See, first, the person invests 18,800 rupees in 5% stock at rupees 94. This 5% is not that very important for me. It is irrelevant. It is redundant data. 18,800 rupees invested at the rate of 94 rupees per share. How many shares will he be able to get? 18,800 by 94, which is 200 shares he'll be able to get. Now, all these 200 shares are sold when the price of each share, the market value of each share is rupees 104. So how much money will be received by the person from the sale? 200 into 104, which is 20,800 rupees has been obtained. Now what happens? This 20,800 rupees is reinvested by the person in a 6% stock at rupees 400. Again, the 6% is redundant data. He invests it in a stock where the share value is rupees 400 per share. So 20,800 at the rate of rupees 400 per share. How many shares will he be able to get? He'll be able to get 52 shares. He'll be able to get 52 shares. 20,800 divided by 400, which is 52. Two zeros cancel. 4 5s are 24. 2s are 8. That is 52 shares he'll be able to get. Now what does he do with those 52 shares? He will sell them. When does he sell them? He sells them when it is quoting at rupees 405. Therefore, the money received from that sale will be 405 times 52. 405 times 52 is equal to 21,060 rupees. 405 into 52, which is 21,060 rupees. Find the overall gain. What is the overall gain? What is the final money in his hand? 21,060. How much had he invested? 18,800. What is the gain? 21,060 minus 18,800. How much is it? 2,260 rupees. Therefore, the answer to the question, what is the overall gain? The overall gain is 2,260 rupees. Is that clear? Hope you enjoyed this session. For access to more such sessions and deeper understanding of concepts, and also access to little bit more complicated questions to be solved in a very easy way, do subscribe to Unacademy. And here is what you get. And here is what you get when you subscribe to Unacademy. You get access to daily live classes, live tests and quizzes, structured courses, and just one subscription will give you unlimited amount of access. But just before that, let me also summarize whatever we saw. In this session, we looked at partnership. We looked at division of profit in partnership, the concept of stock and share, face value and market value, the concept of premium and discount, the concept of dividend, and what is the meaning of a X% stock at Y rupees. This much was covered in this session. Again, with one subscription, you will get unlimited access to all the educators who are teaching on the platform. Hundreds of educators are teaching. You will get access to all of them. You get access to the live classes. You get access to the batch courses. For some people, the prime time could be early in morning, late in the evening, some odd time in the afternoon. So you can choose a schedule that works for you. You can learn anytime, anywhere, almost round the clock. The sessions will be happening, so you get access to all those sessions. You will learn different ways of solving the same question, right? And you can interact with your educator, get your doubts cleared anytime, and you will be provided with detailed report and analysis for every exam that you take, mock exam that you take on the platform. You get access to learning material and PDFs. All of this comes at a very, very reasonable price of just rupees 18,900 with a discount of 10%. That is Earlier the price was 21,000. You get a 10% discount only when you use the code APUS. By using this code, you stand to gain, and you also show your love to my way of teaching. If you liked this session and you need access to more such sessions, valuable positive feedback will be by you subscribing to Unacademy for 24 months by using the code APUS. Do not forget, do subscribe using the code APUS. Please remember this code APUS. Arjun Prasad Unacademy subscribe APUS. And you can also get, once you subscribe, you can also get access to Telegram channel, and you can ask your questions over there as well. Okay. Thank you. Hope to see you soon on the Unacademy platform. Until then, thank you.